Mission accomplished.
Seat as though I was like, pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. Like, was that okay?
But wait, there's more.
The conversation of he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title. And also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
Hold up.
Hold up.
There's
Stop
several
right now.
there's several conversations.
There's a
about
conversation with you
with Harry
about how dark your baby is going to be?
potentially and what that would mean or look like.
Oprah, they're so racist. That's not racist. Because even black people want to know how brown the baby gonna be.
That conversation I'm never going to share.
Ooh, this is uncomfortable.
We'll talk when we get home.
Hello, my queens. My microphone wouldn't turn on. How are you? Welcome. It's good to see you Sunday evening with our discussion, not a discussion, well, it is our discussion, our reading and discussion of the book Betrayal by Tom Bauer about Meghan and Harry after leaving the royal family. Book one, about their life and everything that led up to them picking up and hightailing it out of Europe. That was Revenge. It's also posted on this channel. Go watch those as well. And while we're thinking of it, anyone watching who hasn't had the opportunity or taken the chance to go subscribe to Wise and Wonderful, do it now. It's called Becoming Wise and Wonderful. I'm going to type it in here right now. Wise and Wonderful. Oh, I typed it wrong. Oh gosh. I'm sorry. This keyboard gets the best of me. It's a typo. You know what I mean. Becoming Wise and Wonderful. I'm going to do on this channel the same thing I'm doing on the Sister Wives channel. And that is, as soon as I hit 800 subscribers, I'm going to do an extra live in that week. As soon as I hit it, whatever week I hit it, I'm going to come and we're going to do an extra live. Maybe on a Wednesday night, possibly. I can do Wednesdays during the summer because I don't have speech therapy all day long, so that we might do it then. And then when we hit 900, I'll do it again. And then when we hit 1,000, we're going to party. So I appreciate you. If you haven't gone to Becoming Wise, and it's not becoming, let me write it the correct way. You know what? I'm going to put the link in here. Here we go. Let me just find it. YouTube. Becoming Wise and Wonderful. There we are. Copy and paste. That's the best way to do it. All right. So go there, subscribe. And if you do, write it in the comments and I'll give you a shout out. I'll try to keep my eye on it. Okay. Let me see who's here today. We have Janice. Welcome, Janice. Good to see you this week. Ashley's here. Hi, Ashley. Good to see you. Shanna Banana. Always great to see you. All right. Those are our 3 people who are here so far. You guys are on time. I started the intro early today. I don't know why, because I was prepared. It doesn't happen often, so I have to take advantage of it when it does. But I am excited about this. I just feel like the royal family is turning into a full-on soap opera. And I hadn't really followed it in the past, to be honest with you. I kind of, like years ago, heard about a lot of Diana stuff. I mean, I was young-ish. I don't know. What was I? Middle school? High school? I don't remember, actually. I felt young. But maybe it's just because it was so early in the morning that we had to get up to see the wedding. And we were up about 3 hours before the actual wedding. It was like all the pre-stuff. And I was kind of like, I don't know who any of these royal people are. But my mom got us all up because it was a royal wedding. And they don't happen that often. So I kind of followed that. I didn't follow Meghan and Harry that much. I just remember thinking, that's great. That's wonderful. We're having some diversity in the royal family. We're having a union of America and the UK in this marriage. And it just seemed like it was great all around. And it seemed like she was going to bring a breath of fresh air to the monarchy. Well, she brought change. I don't know if the breath of fresh air came to fruition. It all depends on how you look at it, I suppose. All right. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. Glad you're here. And 9 lurkers as well. Hello, all you lurkers. Listen, lurking is perfectly fine, but if you could do me a solid, you don't even have to mark it in the comments in the chat if you don't want to, but if you do, that'd be great. She brought stinky air. That's what she brought. She wasn't a breath of fresh air. She was stinky air, according to Ashley. Please go to Becoming Wise and Wonderful and subscribe. You don't even have to watch anything on it. I don't even care. Just subscribe. Have your husband subscribe. Have your kids subscribe. Have your neighbors subscribe. Create a new YouTube channel. Subscribe that one too. Whatever it takes. All right. I was going to look up exactly what page I said we were going to start on. I wish I could just look at the title of it when I'm in here. Let's see. It doesn't show in here. Reality TV breakdown. Lives. Okay. 34. Very good. All right, so this might be a little bit of repetition. I'll go back to the first full paragraph on page 34. I think we were halfway down. I think we were a paragraph in when I stopped last time, but we will go back to make it make sense. And it's a good intro here, too, because it starts with Harry blamed his father for his misery. It kind of sounds like how it all went down, right? Okay, I just want you all to know that I take one for the team when it comes to the tiara, because the 2 tiaras that I have are both from my daughters when they were in, I don't know, they probably had them from, I don't know what my one daughter had. My one daughter was, but she wasn't queen. She was in the court. Oh, I know. They were in cheerleading. And for homecoming weekend, they all had tiaras for some reason. I don't know why. That's what they're from. But anyway, I think they were from like probably Claire's at the mall or something like that. And they're designed for, I think, a kid's head. I think they're designed for a child to like play and do dress up. And I have a large head to begin with. So putting this on, it's a sacrifice of love from me to all you queens, which brings me to the realization that we need to, there we go, have our proper background. My apologies. We are caught up now. All right. You're the 34th like already? No. 34th like, or is that answer to something else? can we be? We just started. Are there 34 people here watching already? Let's see. YouTube Studio. YouTube Studio. Live. Sometimes my numbers aren't as up to date, though, as your numbers are. Or like people always have different numbers from me. Let me see here. What does it say? Oh, yeah. You could be the 34th person who's liked it because there's currently 25 people watching, and some people just go in and like it before it even starts. So that is very possible. Thank you for hitting the like button. I appreciate you very much, very much. Okay. Harry blamed his father for his misery. Charles had married Diana out of duty, and he failed to live up to his responsibility to remain loyal to his mother and his children. Instead of understanding his father's burdens, unhappy school days, distant parents, and bowing to the pressure for his first loveless marriage, Harry turned against his father, describing him as emotionally dead. Oh, that's interesting. It's like have pity for Charles because he was unhappy in school, his parents were distant, and he had to, I mean, that does kind of suck that he had to marry somebody he didn't want to marry and didn't love. That one's really justifiable. I mean, unhappy school days, I mean, that's 50% of kids, right? Distant parents, there's a good percentage of those out there as well. The being forced into a loveless marriage, that one I'll give them. But at any rate, their point is Harry could not see that in his father and have any sympathy for him. Instead, he turned against his father, describing him as emotionally dead. Proof was Charles' failure to hug his son on that fateful August morning in Balmoral when he sat on his bed to tell him that Diana was dead. And later, disregarding his two sons' pleas, he went and married Camilla Parker Bowles. In 2009, I mean, I see both sides of the coin on that one. I really do. I see how hurtful that was to the boys. I really do. On the same notion, if they had any understanding that their dad was forced into that marriage with their mom and he didn't want any part of it, and now their mom has passed and many, many years have gone by, and the person he's always loved is available to marry, like, why deny them that opportunity to have love at the end of their life? Anyway, in 2009, the journalist Mark Hollingsworth wrote in the London Evening Standard that Harry had an uneasy relationship with his father because Prince Charles was an absentee father. Lesotho and his charity work, continued Hollingsworth, had become Harry's sanctuary, quote, far away from the disapproving and detached gaze of his father, end quote. The Standard's magazine editor received a formal protest from the palace. Quote, there's absolutely no truth to any of these assertions, end quote, wrote the communications director from the palace. The claims made without any evidence are incorrect. 4 years later, in January of 2013, Charles understood Harry's trauma better than others. The army had been Harry's life belt. Hugely popular, he had flourished in Afghanistan as an officer amid real camaraderie. Okay, somebody help me out here. I know that when you go into the service in America, anyway, if you have a 4-year degree, a 4-year education degree, a college degree, university, if you will, because I know sometimes in Europe you use college for high school. Like they went to Eton College, but that was like a prep school. We never use college. College and university are used interchangeably in America, meaning university. And let me explain it to people in Europe who are like, why that's so confusing. Technically, a university is made up of different colleges. So there's the College of Education and the College of Engineering and the College of Humanities. And so there's different colleges that collectively together make it a university. So some colleges are just singularly focused in a certain area, so they're just college. But when you have a university or multiple colleges altogether, that school then can get the title of university. In fact, I went to what was called a college for the first 2 years I was there. And then they applied to become a university and got granted that status. And the name of it changed to university for my second 2 years that I was there. Crazy. Anyway, so that's how it's distinguished in America. And why was I starting to say that? What did I read here? Oh, Afghanistan. So when you go into the service in America, if you have a 4-year degree from a university, you're automatically an officer. I don't know what it takes to become an officer in the service, how much time you have to be there to serve before you become an officer if you don't have that degree. I know my son-in-law and my brother and my father were all in the service, all of them for 4 years, different branches, but they were all there for 4 years. I don't remember what status. Maybe it's the same. My dad and my brother became, but I want to say they were like second lieutenant or something like that. I know my son-in-law became a sergeant while he was there. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. And Maggie Sue. Hi, Maggie Sue. Good to see you too. So I am curious how Harry became an officer. How many years was he there? And what is the standard requirement in the UK to become an officer? How many years? Or was he given a little bit of a handout and was on like the fast track to become an officer? Basically given a little bit of a handout based on his title. I don't know, just curious. I'm not saying he was, I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm curious just because of what it takes to become an officer and how many years you have to be there. And it's a full-time commitment while you're there too. It's not, I'm serving the royal family and going on all these duties and I'm showing up on weekends. Like you have to be in there full time, all year round for 4 years. And then you're still not an officer. So I'm curious. Okay. Ashley said he was a charity case. He may have been. I mean, I really believe Andrew was, in my opinion. I heard that he was just difficult. Like the guys were just annoyed with him, which it seems like he had an annoying personality. And I know that a lot of people had said that wherever Harry was stationed, he was treated with kid gloves. He really was never truly put in any danger because he was in the line of succession to the throne. Oh, my eyes itch. My apologies. All of a sudden. Okay. The army had been Harry's life belt, hugely popular. He flourished in Afghanistan as an officer amid real camaraderie. Hearing about his sudden evacuation after a newspaper had revealed his presence, Charles had rushed from Highgrove to meet his son's returning plane at Snowy Breeze, Norton. And you can see this is something we did read last week, actually. This must be right where we stopped. Last week we discussed that. How is it that somebody found out where he was stationed and he just had to get yanked from the army altogether and he could no longer do it as a career? Like, who could be more covert than the government? Like, they can hide people all over. That didn't make any sense to me that they couldn't restation him somewhere else secretly and he could continue to be in the army if that's where he was flourishing. So make that make sense to me. I don't know. Harry, he suspected, would struggle to establish a satisfying life as a civilian. Well, if that's the case, why didn't you throw him up in, like, I don't know, the tundra somewhere where no one's going to get him? Put him on Mongolia or I don't know, wherever there's bases all over the world. There's got to be a place they could have put him. All right. Maybe he had to be stationed in the UK somewhere, so he was close and available to do royal duties. I don't know. That would be special accommodations if that were the case, as Ashley was indicating. Suffering, quote, post-traumatic stress injury, end quote, Harry was unraveling, as he later admitted. The first few bubbles started coming out, and then it was chaos. My emotions were sprayed all over the wall, everywhere. I started to go slightly off the rails and deal with it through drinking and drugs. Unfortunately, like most of us, the first time you consider therapy is when you're lying on the floor in a fetal position, probably wishing you had dealt with some of this stuff previously. End quote. Harry's savior, he had told the journalist, was William. Quote, he kept saying, this is not right. This is not normal. You need to talk to someone about this stuff. It's okay. End quote. Bless him. He was a huge support to me. End quote of the quote. It was Harry quoting what William said to him, which is nice. He gave him credit. I mean, it seems like William all along has been the one that says get into like, so why is Harry now trying to take up the platform of mental health? He doesn't seem like he has it all together yet, but William clearly seems like he has all along held himself really well. Because let's not forget, William lost his mother as much as Harry lost his mother. They were both young boys. William was around his mother, knew her even more than Harry did. Not that has anything to do with anything. They were both young boys. It was traumatic for both of them. But the whole card that Harry keeps playing of my life is so miserable and I am the way I am and everything because of what I went through with my mom. He's not the only child to have lost a parent. Just saying. I know many of them. And that's just me. And William went through the exact same thing. So if you want to say, yeah, but it wasn't on TV. Well, how did William keep it together? I don't know. So good on William to suggest to Harry, get some therapy. In hindsight, Harry would complain that his future had been precarious. As the spare, he protested he had no money, no status, no decent home, and no job. Oh, give me a break. He had millions. He was receiving millions every year as a working royal, and then he had millions from his mother's estate. And he claimed he had no money, no status, no decent. He was heir to the throne. He was second in line after his brother. I mean, that went away when his brother had boys, but he was second in line to the throne. No status. He's a frickin' prince. No status. He's so clueless. This guy, I can't. No decent home. A palace. No decent home. And no job. He's a working royal. They give him whatever he wants. Yeah, he's no job. He just has to say, I want this, and he gets it. Oh, so spoiled. Palace officials refused to create a separate court for Harry or negotiate an accommodation for him to fit in like his aunt, Princess Anne, or even his great aunt, Margaret. Don't bother to compete against William, a senior palace official advised him. Frustrated, he found that his father ignored both his complaints and the danger signals. Until he met Meghan, Harry accepted his fate. He always seemed so friendly, recalled one palace official, even as his role declined. Meaning, even as William got married and started having children, and so that was moving him further down the pecking order in terms of inheriting the throne, he still seemed like he was very a friendly, upbeat guy, which is true. Didn't everybody love Harry? He was kind of the fun-loving one. William was like the hot, good-looking one, in my opinion. I don't know. A lot of people said Harry was hot. I just never saw it. I guess he's just not my cup of tea. Cup of tea. But Harry was sort of like the lighthearted one that brought sort of jovial nature to the not to the throne, but to the institution, to the family, in my opinion. The official was mistaken. While Harry assumed that he shared with his brother an unbreakable lifetime bond of misery over Diana's death, he balked at the barriers erected after William's marriage to Kate in 2011. After the Cambridges were given more staff bigger cars, and a bigger home, Harry felt himself as an outsider, a non-person within my own family. So he was upset when when William got married, that he got to move to a larger residence. He should be just called the spoiled spare, is really his title. Convinced that he was being ostracized by the Cambridges. Oh, that was all over the media when they're laughing with them and joking with them, and Kate would laugh with them. Yeah, ostracized. Okay. Trifling incidences in Kensington Palace became magnified. Arguments about a parking space and disputes about a lack of natural sunlight into his home fired him up. Oh, spoiled spare. And so did Meghan. Oh, yeah, Meghan got him fired up for sure. Consumed by the memory of Diana, Harry told William, "I feel as though she helped me find Meg." I think Meghan planted that idea in his head, but we'll see. William was surprised. "Well, now, Harold, I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't say that," end quote. Oh, okay. So Harry said that to William. "I feel as though she helped me," referring to their mother, "helped me find Meg." And William responded with, "Well, now, Harold, I'm not so sure about that. I wouldn't say that." And then Harry threw a temper tantrum because he didn't like it that everybody didn't bow down to Meghan and give her whatever she wanted. Because according to Harry's own words, what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. Chapter 5. Briefings. During the weeks following the Tea Party fracas, Meghan seemingly fed Harry's suspicions, leading Harry to challenge his family. As his relationships with his family splintered, Harry seemed to be unaware how Meghan had ruthlessly dished her own family, her uncles, her aunts, her cousins, and her half-sister, and more importantly, had done little to contradict the negative description of her very generous father in order to justify repudiating him. Encouraging a similar break between Harry and Charles did not seem to trouble Meghan. "They're racist," she suggested, was the view to take. And publicly, too. "I'm being hounded by the media," said Meghan. Like the media, she explained, his family distorted the facts to suit their agenda. They manipulated the media against him. "Just like against your mother." The mere mention of Diana by Meghan triggered an outpouring of Harry's bitterness. "My mother was chased to her death when she was in a relationship with somebody who wasn't white," Harry recalled. "And look what happened." Okay, that has nothing to do with the fact that I didn't even know he wasn't white. Just like I didn't know that Meghan wasn't white. Oh, yeah, that's the reason. That's the reason everybody was following her wherever she went. It was only because, before that, you could hear crickets wherever Diana went. There was no paparazzi. Nobody was around. No, she could just walk freely in the streets. Nobody even recognized her. But then she started dating somebody who was not white, not black. What was he? Arab? I don't know. He's like Meghan. He just looks like he has a really good tan. I don't know what his nationality is. I'm jealous of everybody who has those nationalities because I'm so pasty white. Whatever nationality he is, according to them, they're now saying that, according to Harry, that is the reason that she was hounded to her death. So she wasn't being chased for paparazzi pictures to get the picture to make a lot of money for it to be sold to a magazine. No, she was being hounded specifically with the intent of killing her. He's so delusional, Harry, so delusional. Harry had refused for many years to even acknowledge that his mother was dead, only that she had, quote, disappeared. Harry chose not to believe that the car crash in Paris in August of 1997 had happened because Mohammed Fayed's drunken chauffeur, Henry Paul, drove over the speed limit into a dangerous curve, or that his mother had contributed to her own death by failing to wear a seatbelt. Contrary to the conclusions of the two exhaustive investigations by a French judge and a former chief of New Scotland Yard, and the verdict of a 4-month coroner's inquest in London of the accident, Harry unreservedly blamed the 7 paparazzi on motorbikes for having chased Diana to her death. Journalists, he cursed, were all blood hunters. Shooting, shooting, shooting was Harry's description of events that night in the Paris tunnel. His mother, he believed, was murdered by the paparazzi's flashes blinding the car's driver. Not that he was stinking drunk and driving like 100 miles an hour. That had nothing to do with it. No. 21 years later, Harry declared, "History is repeating itself." The same tabloids were now hounding Meghan. No, they're not. Anytime there's like one flash, she's just sort of like, oh. And that flash is like the only person that's there. Nobody cares. Nobody's showing up to her events, especially if Harry's not there. Even with Harry, they're not highly attended. But without Harry, nobody cares. They're not there. This is ridiculous, all of this. The same tabloids are now hounding Meghan, and they're not going to stop until she dies. Lies. Harry did not properly understand either his mother or grasp of Diana's own misconception of her effect on others. Deeply disillusioned that her fairy tale marriage had been a disaster from the outset, Diana grappled with the awful fate of being a royal. Not just the hard work, but also the inevitable disloyalty of some she had trusted. Among the betrayals was that of Panorama's Martin Bashir. He's like the devil incarnate, who used forged bank statements produced for him for the BBC to persuade her of treachery within the palace. Full-on lies. Full-on misleading Diana and telling her lies of things that are happening that never did. It's awful. Bashir's lies persuaded Diana to agree to be interviewed. Once the BBC's dishonesty was exposed, her fears intensified. But one truth did emerge during her Panorama interview: her passion to destroy Charles's reputation. Harry preferred to ignore that Bashir was just one of many journalists with whom Diana conspired during her charmingly manipulative conversations. After trusting Andrew Morton to write an excoriating book, I don't know what that word means, unleashing the War of the Waleses, she had frequently entertained trusted tabloid journalists in Kensington Palace or met them in restaurants and even in their cars to incite mayhem. Her close ties to the paparazzi, especially Jason Frazier, climaxed when she holidayed in the summer of 1997 in the south of France with Dodi, the son of Harrods owner Mohammed Fayed, a cocaine-addicted wastrel spending the dishonest father's money. Whew. That's Dodi, I guess he's referring to. On the 18th of July, the Mirror's editor, Piers Morgan, got a call from Fayed in Saint-Tropez. With Diana barking instructions in the background, Morgan was told of the beach where the princess could be photographed cartwheeling, wearing a leopard print bikini. That wasn't a bikini, that was a one-piece, right? I'm pretty sure it was a one-piece. Diana had plotted to dominate the following morning's front pages to eclipse the 50th birthday party of Charles that he was hosting that evening for Camilla in Highgrove. Effortlessly attracting global attention, Diana enjoyed casting herself alternately as the victim and the rebel, while at the same time using the media to attack Charles. Okay, so she wasn't perfect. Clearly. They all use the media to manipulate all of them. Harry, Meghan, the royals. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I don't think William and Kate really care about anything else going on. I think they're just living their lives and trying to stay as innocuous and far away from media as they can until they become king and queen, raising their family as normal as they possibly can. Something that Meghan could take a page out of a book from, like they pretty much keep the kids away from social media. They don't have paparazzi following the children around, taking them pictures of them going to school, anything like that. They have their set, formal. This is a holiday. We have a professional photographer coming. We're doing professional photos, and we will release certain ones to the media. And it is, say, Charlotte's birthday. We're going to do an updated picture of Charlotte standing outside, and we're going to release it to the media. That's it. But this constant, I'm showing the back of kids' heads like it's Children of the Corn or something, is bizarre. Just bizarre. It's like she's trying to incite excitement and speculation and interest in her kids by never showing their faces, like so people will hound them even more to try to get pictures of them. That's not right. And then she goes and she preaches about how bad social media is. I can't. Okay. But Harry refused to believe that few people manipulated the media more successfully than his mother did. Ignoring the truth, Harry would praise Netflix's version of his mother's relationship with the Fayeds and her death. The Crown, the show, Harry said, humanized them. It made them relatable. Rather than face reality, Harry preferred Netflix's sympathetic fiction. Portrayed as a scapegoat and the black sheep, Harry felt sorry for himself. I'm way more comfortable with The Crown, Harry confirmed, than I am seeing the stories written about my family, my wife, or myself. Harry was forgetting that communication was critical to the monarchy's survival. In all the royal households, the national newspaper were laid out every morning on the coffee table. The royal family hated the media, but relied upon relationships with trusted journalists to project the monarchy's popularity. Inevitably, there were risks. The same newspaper that one day glorified the royals would publish an embarrassing investigation on another. Harry confused the palace's daily media operations to secure good coverage and to bury bad news with deliberate distortion. At the time of Diana's death in 1997, the establishment was grappling with an existential problem: how to protect the 1,000-year institution from her sabotage. In 2019, palace officials realized that Meghan posed the same threat. Harry and Meghan were concocting their own scheme for destruction. In hindsight, Camilla would conclude that in the months after their wedding, Harry had been radicalized by Meghan. The Sun's famous royal photographer, Arthur Edwards, blamed Meghan too. Quote, Harry was a photographer's dream, he recalled. He always projected warmth and kindness across the world. He always had time for a drink, especially in Africa. During his famous tour of Jamaica in 2012, Harry told Arthur and others, I'm here to make it work for you guys, end quote. Soon after he had met Meghan, Edwards realized everything had changed. He could not even look at me, let alone talk to me anymore. the Meghan effect. During his visit to Ireland in July of 2018, Harry ignored the photographer's suggestion that he hit a ball with a hurling stick. Usually, recalled Edwards, he would join in with the children at schools. Girls would hug him. Great pictures. But after Meghan, everything became awful. End quote. Something had ruptured. What was it? I do say. Hello, Crafty Nana, and welcome to our Queen's reading of Betrayal. At heart, Meghan remained commercially minded, a dedicated professional influencer. Unquestioningly, she obeyed the palace order to close down the TIG, her profitable website endorsing food, cosmetics, and lifestyle, after her relationship with Harry had formalized in 2016. I just would love to know if somebody could just go in like a forensic accountant, I don't know what they're called. They can go into an account and see how many subscribers they paid to get and how many were real subscribers to her channel. Because I dare ask, has anybody here ever heard of the TIG before Meghan and reading about it in the books? I still didn't even know anything about the TIG, even after she married Harry and even after she moved to America. I learned about it in the last book from ago, but she makes it seem like it was this hugely profitable website. I think not. Thereafter, the Crown vetoed any commercial activity for personal gain. Okay, so the TIG, profitable website for food, cosmetics, and lifestyle, after her relationship with Harry was formalized. Okay, so they said you can't have a commercial venture anymore if you're going to be royal. Okay. Michelle B said she's never heard of this site before Meghan. Yeah. Shanna Banana said never until now. Yeah, never. Never until I started reading these books have I heard of it. Nobody knew of it. Barely even knew about the show. I have to tell you, I'm not sure if I knew about it before I started hearing about her marrying into the royal family. What was it? Suits. I mean, it's all over TV now because they're doing a revamp, a LA version. That's got to be driving her crazy. She wanted to live in LA so bad, and she was stuck up there in Canada and Vancouver, and she just wanted to get out. And then they do a reboot of the show, and she's watching everyone do it in LA, where she wants to make it big. Yeah. I mean, they would have never asked her to do it, but I just think it's going to drive her crazy. Okay. So thereafter, after she got involved and they saw that she was monetizing stuff on her channel and they said, take it down, the Crown vetoed any commercial activity for personal gain. That's an important line to remember. It's still going on today. Just 2 years later, she questioned why she was not paid for visiting an English town to meet the public. The restrictions were infuriating. She chafed at the wasted opportunity of exploiting the royal family as an invaluable moneymaker. Meghan would have learned during her life on the fringes of Hollywood that control of the image maximized celebrities' income. Instinctively, she had live streamed Harry's proposing marriage to her in Nottingham College with a simultaneous commentary to her then best friend Jess Mulroney in Toronto. Quote, "Oh my God, Jess, it's happening. And then, he's really doing it." The video recording and the accompanying narrative, she calculated, would surely one day be valuable. Yeah, how many people knew that it was coming along and then they set up their own personal thing to record? He's going to propose to me now, so I'm going to set up this camera. Like setting up the camera at the end of a ball game. I don't know if it was basketball or baseball when they won the World Series or the finals, whatever. Well, I wasn't even paying attention because I don't think she followed sports. She just does it for the show. I'm sorry, I saw Shanna's comment. And at the very end, like jumping up and down like a bunch of hyenas with some girl who I don't know who it is. And Harry just sitting in his chair staring at the TV like, make them stop, please. And she posted that. She's like, he wouldn't get up. She like had to bend over and give him a hug in the reclining chair that he was sitting in. And it looked like he was so over her in that moment. But she posted it. Like, I'd be so embarrassed to post that. She posted it. Immediately after her wedding, Meghan resumed contact with her agents in Hollywood and tasked them to quietly build foundations for her return to California. Leaving Britain, Meghan would say, gave us a chance to create that home we had always wanted. The eventual split surfaced 4 months after the wedding. Really? 4 months? What? In September of 2018, the Queen's private secretary, Edward Young, had become angry with Harry for not playing by the rules, observed one of the senior officials. Harry was constantly making demands which were inappropriate for his position. He had a constant sense of feeling left out of the family's private conversations. He wanted to be invited and to participate in their decisions, but frequently he and Meghan were excluded from major events. That was frustrating and hurtful. Both Harry and Meghan were denied access to the Queen. They decided that Young and other officials were deliberately keeping them away from her, the Queen. End quote. Young understood Harry was a problem, but he was not inclined to pause and produce a solution. Well, yeah, Harry's a problem because I don't think he's the brightest bulb in the drawer. And so I don't think anything he had to say was going to contribute much of anything. I mean, it's well documented that Harry barely made it through school, he barely got into Eton. And it was, I don't know, maybe they kind of overlooked or fudged a grade here or there, and they didn't do well when he was there. And he subsequently didn't go to college versus William, who succeeded with high honors through his schooling at Eton College as well as the University, St. Andrews. So a little bit of difference in terms of intellectual capability of understanding higher level important decisions that need to be made by the monarchy. So there's that. And then there's Meghan. And I think they knew from jump she couldn't be trusted. She wanted to be sitting in on these meetings so that she would have intel to eventually spill in a book or a blog or a TV special. I think they knew. Incited by Meghan's unhappiness, Harry became visibly angry. See, yeah, Meghan's unhappy because she's not in on these meetings. It's not meetings for her to be in on, but she wants to be everywhere. I think she just really saw herself as more important. I think she saw herself as the breath of fresh air that's going to change the monarchy and modernize it, and thus make her the most important person and the most beloved person in the monarchy. And when she realized that right from the beginning, they weren't going to allow her to do that, she threw a temper tantrum, and then she grabbed her toys and ran off to America, dragged Harry along with her. Incited by Meghan's unhappiness, Harry became visibly angry. Young and others stood silent as Harry fumed. Meghan's complaints became vocal. Before the wedding, she was told in uncompromising terms the deal for marrying into the royal family. I said that like I thought it was one of them saying it. Okay, this was an official. The way this guy writes is very difficult. It'd be really nice if he would just say, so-and-so said, and then I could read it like that. But because I don't read this before I do it with you guys, I don't know where he's coming from until the sentence is over. I'll do that one again. Quote, before the wedding, she was told in uncompromising terms the deal for marrying into the royal family, recalled an official. She began crossing red lines. Young underestimated the developing crisis. In response to the Sussexes' dislike of Nottingham College, they were offered Frogmore Cottage on the Windsor estate. Yeah. So we don't like where we're living. We want something bigger. I mean, Harry didn't say that, but Meghan did. So they got it. So they got Frogmore Cottage on Windsor Estate. The dilapidated building would need complete refurbishment. Anxious to leave Kensington Palace, they ignored the complications involved and those of leaving London for an undistinguished house under the flight path of Heathrow. Oh, so they moved to another place before they moved into that place that they had renovated. Okay. Next, Harry declared that he could no longer share an office with William. I can't even share an office with him. He's so jealous of William. It's ridiculous. Not even in the same building of Kensington Palace. Instead of finding the Sussexes an office in Windsor Castle, the Queen ordered that they should be allocated a few rooms in Buckingham Palace. But it was regarded by the Sussexes as a snub. Of course it was. They refused, just to get this straight, Harry refused to share an office with William. Harry refused to even have an office in the same building as William, which was Kensington Palace. So the Queen ordered that they were allocated a few rooms, that would be 3 or more rooms in Buckingham Palace. But now Harry determined that that was being a snub. Okay. Because he wanted to be in Windsor Castle. I honestly don't know the difference between all these castles, but that does seem a little petty to me. Okay. Amid the turmoil, the palace and the Foreign Office, in consultation with the Sussexes, finalized preparations for the couple to fly to Sydney on the 14th of October for a 16-day tour of Australia and New Zealand. A 16-day vacation, essentially, together. I don't care if they had to go to 3 different places during the day and kiss a few babies and shake a few hands. That's a freaking vacation they were given. I'm sure they'll complain about it. Sydney, Australia. It's a place I'm dreaming to go to someday. I don't think I ever will get there, but never say never. The last days of preparation were beset with problems. The good news was that Meghan was pregnant. The bad news was that Meghan stole the limelight by revealing her news at the wedding of Eugenie, Prince Andrew's daughter. I'd say she's clueless, but she's not. That was intentional. It's awful. Inevitably, the following day, the tabloids relegated the wedding, and they headlined Meghan's revelation. Yeah. So the newspapers weren't talking about Eugenie. They were all talking about Meghan. She's awful. But the biggest problem, if she drops any news, like any new product she's going to reveal or any new thing that's happening in their life, it's always on the day of something important happening in the royal family. Go look, document it. Something important is happening. It's either a birthday, an anniversary, or the announcement of some big event that's going on there. And then Meghan will have something that she also does to try to upstage. Now, it worked back then. Now people don't really care that much, but it's almost to the point that it's comical. Like you can just expect it. In fact, just recently, did you see? William did an interview on, was it iHeartRadio? On some radio station. I'm guessing it was somewhere in the UK. And one of the things they asked him was they had scones, as they call scones with jam and cream there. And the interviewer said, okay, we need to know, most important question of all, how do you do your scones? Do you put on the cream first and then the jam, or the jam and then the cream? And William said, well, I do it the way that the Queen, my grandmother, had always done it, which was, I think, jam first and then cream on top. And she's like, oh, good to know. Wouldn't you know, right after that, Meghan drops an advertisement for one of her jams, and it's a scones with cream and jam in the same way that William says he does his. It's crazy. it's almost freaky stalker-ishy, the way that she imitates Kate's attire and tries to imitate what Kate does, which I think was part of that whole World Health Organization visit. Like after Kate had such a successful solo tour in Italy, she decided to do a solo tour without Harry. It was a big mistake because nobody showed up. There were a few people at like a bus stop nearby. It was awful. It was awful. It was like maybe 50 people there, one of the reporters said. Possibly 100. There were about 50 like invited guests, and there may have been maybe 50 other people at most. A lot of people were like, there were 10 people there, but I do believe that's hyperbole. I think that may have been about 100 people, where there were thousands. The whole courtyard and that was shut down for Kate, so it didn't go well. It didn't go well. She tries to one up the royal family. I mean, she's obsessed with them still, clearly, still obsessed. And I think it's her biggest regret of leaving now, or at least not establishing her roots in there a little bit more, because with every year, people see her less and less and less as a royal. Because how long was she? She wasn't even there 2 years. It was months that she was, and before they picked up and walked away and said their kids wouldn't have any titles or anything, and now complain that they don't have titles. Anyway, and now use their titles. Oh, it's awful. I'm sorry. But the biggest problem was the uproar amongst Meghan's staff. On the eve of the Australian trip, 2 staffers submitted formal complaints to Jason Kanoff. I just saw an interview on 2020 Australia with Jason Kanoff. So look it up. It's on YouTube. We've been reading his name ever since the last book. So it was nice to have a face to go along with the name. I think it was 2020. It was an interview. It was some documentary like that in Australia. I think it was 2020 because I follow the 2020 Australian channel. So I'm assuming that's what it was. Okay. Two staffers submitted formal complaints to Jason Kanoff, communications secretary to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, about Meghan's behavior. Accused of being polite one moment and then rude the next, or blanking a person entirely, the tearful women told Kanoff that they felt traumatized. Outraged that Meghan was under attack, Harry urged Kanoff not to pursue the complaints in exchange for urging Meghan to show greater understanding. Why must she be told that is what I want to know. Why did Harry have to tell Meghan that she has to be more understanding to her staff and not be mean? Just want to know. Employees, he said, could not take constructive criticism. Oh, that's it. That's it. That's why they were in tears, because they couldn't take constructive criticism. Okay. The media, said Harry, should be told his version and that the employees should be asked to sign NDAs. Critical reports of Meghan's behavior were reported in the newspapers. The Cambridges were to blame, Harry said. It's the Cambridge's fault that Meghan was mean to her staff. This ought to be good. They had a knack for backstabbing, a talent for intrigue, based on rumors and lies fed to the media. I don't know. I mean, talk about just grasping at anything, making something up and throwing it at the wall to distract from the fact that his wife is awful. Harry wanted Jason Kanoff to protect Meghan, especially from the criticism of bullying her staff. But, I'm sorry. I didn't realize this was still on. Do you mind if I just look for a quick second? Somebody at my front door. Okay. All right. That's just a neighbor boy. We're good. Okay. Okay, outraged The media should be okay. The employees should sign NDAs. Critical reports of Meghan's behavior were reported in the newspapers. The Cambridges were to blame. Okay, we read that. Harry wanted Jason Knopf to protect Meghan, especially from the criticism of her bullying staff, but Knopf and his staff refused. Their policy was not to engage with the tabloids' tittle-tattle, and certainly not to lie. The media reports about the fact of her staff's complaints were, after all, true. Harry's explanation was starkly different from his family's. Harry understood so much better how he had been misled. The genuine truth was what Harry himself believed. The previously loyal Knopf switched sides. He composed a memorandum to Simon Case, William's private secretary. And what I learned from the 2020 episode is that Jason Knopf worked for the Cambridges, for William and Catherine. Mostly William is like William's, I don't know, they all have titles that I don't understand. But he was like his private secretary, I guess. And then when he worked for Harry and William, and then he worked for William and Kate, but then kind of also Harry. But then once Meghan came into it, he kind of worked for all four of them. All right. So he was loyal to all of them, but previously he switched sides. He composed a memorandum to Simon Case, William's private secretary. All right. So he's not a private secretary. We read here before what Knopf was. I just don't remember what his title was. He's kind of the go-to guy. They showed him like he literally is always there in the background of every picture. Like sometimes he just literally holds Catherine's purse for her and like answers questions. Like he just makes sure that everything goes well. He's sort of like a producer, if you will, because that's the job of the producer, is just like solve all the problems that go wrong. He like sees to it that everything goes swimmingly. All right. He composed a memorandum to Simon Case, William's private secretary. Quote, "I am very concerned," Knopf wrote, "that the Duchess was able to bully 2 PAs out of the household in the past year." According to her former staff, he continued, Meghan was vindictive. The Duchess seems intent on always having someone in her sights. The treatment of one person, he wrote, was totally unacceptable, and her bullying of another seemed to be an attempt to undermine her confidence. Eyewitnesses reported her as very challenging and guilty of unacceptable behavior. Meghan, he explained, played mind games with her staff. On one occasion, she had encouraged a staff member in a meeting to undertake a task, but at the next meeting, she ignored that person and asked another to do the same work. We have had report after report from people who had witnessed unacceptable behavior. Knopf recounted from what had been dubbed the Sussex's Survival Club. But since Harry and Meghan were about to leave for Australia, Knopf did not send his memorandum to Case. On Harry's instructions, his lawyers would later deny that Harry had even discussed this issue with Knopf or had interfered. Oh, wow. Knopf. What Knopf do? All right. I have to get going to my next live stream. So thank you for being here this evening. We will read some more of that next week. I think it's getting good, and we're just at the beginning of the book. I think I'm just going to enjoy the whole book because it's so much more topical. It's so much more timely. It's not like the back history of everyone's lives, which is like a setup informationally. It's more like this is what happened and this is what people said. It's just juicy. Good stuff. All right. Let's see. It could have been 60 Minutes Australia, Sarah, because I do watch 60 Minutes Australia a lot. I subscribe to that channel on YouTube. So I'm thinking it was because it was set up that way. If not, it was one of those news magazines in Australia. I do know it was Australia. But gotta run. Thanks for being here, Queens. Love to all of you. And I'll see you next week. Let's do an outro while we're at it. Bye, friends.
You're like, Megan, one tear, left eye, go. Give me 3 seconds. Or make yourself cry. Yeah. Oh, I can do that so well. Oh my God, it's crazy. You're like, Megan, one tear, left eye, go. Give me 3 seconds.
With a camera trained in front of her, crying. One tear, left eye, go.